Hello, I'm Rachel from Douentza Garden in Ireland, and it's time for me to think about my front of the house summer pot display. For the last few years I've gone with tulips in late spring and mostly lilies in the summer. But this year I'm going all out with dahlias. In this video I'll show you how I select dahlias on the basis of colour, shape and height, and I'll also unbox with you the wonderful new dahlias I've just received and show you how I pot them up. You are very welcome to this video about my potted dahlia display, soon to be at the front of the house. I've selected 4 different types of matching dahlias to fit into 17 pots, 51 dahlias in total. And now we're going to open up the box and see what I got. I'm opening the box now. It contains 51 dahlias and some other plants that we'll deal with in a second video. At this stage I should mention where I bought my dahlia tubers, and it will come as no surprise that it was with Bulby in the Netherlands. Bulby has been my supplier of choice for many years now. I was buying their spring bulbs regularly long before I ever started collaborating with them. Bulby supplies spring bulbs in autumn and summer flowering plants in spring, which can be bought by people all over Europe, including the UK. They have 2 websites, one for the UK and one for the rest of Europe. And besides being excellent quality plants, you should note that Bulby is genuinely a lot cheaper than anywhere else I've found. My dahlias today cost from €2.24 to €3.30 each, and even less when purchased in bulk. And better still, you can get them even cheaper by using my discount code Douentza10. All details are in the video description. Dahlia tubers are so ungainly, like a demented potato that's lost its way in life. It's a real ugly duckling story because these amorphous blobs produce the most amazing flowers. The colour scheme I've chosen for my pot display is a deep burgundy, red and white. My best advice on how to select dahlias for a colour scheme is to start with a showstopper. Just one. My showstopper is the dahlia called Tartan. You'll have seen this spectacular dahlia in my garden previously in garden tour videos, where it looks as amazing in real life as it does in photographs. It has a unique and bold appearance, featuring large blooms with a distinctive pattern of deep burgundy and white stripes, reminiscent of a tartan plaid. The temptation when selecting plants is to choose all the ones you love without any consideration for how they might go together. So for example, in selecting my showstopper, I was torn between the burgundy and white tartan and the orange David Howard with its fabulous dark foliage. These two, however, do not go together. It pays to be disciplined, so in the end I discarded David Howard from my shopping basket. Having selected Dahlia Tartan, I then needed to settle on its support cast. The obvious option here is to choose white dahlias to accentuate tartan's pure white stripes. I choose Dahlia Petra's Wedding and Dahlia Playa Blanca. Petra's Wedding is white and has a very rounded shape, almost like a ball or pom-pom type dahlia, although it is technically a decorative dahlia just like tartan. So here there's harmony of colour but a contrast in shape. Tartan and Petra's Wedding are both tall, so will do for the backdrop of my display. Dahlia Playa Blanca is my third choice, and this is shorter with a semi-cactus flower. Again, a matching of colour but a contrast in flowers. My final choice is the dark maroon cactus type dahlia called Nuit d'été, semi-cactus actually. Its colour echoes the burgundy in Dahlia tartan. Meanwhile, its height falls between the shorter Playa Blanca and the other two tall ones. It's such fun to play around with colours, shapes and heights like this, and Bulby's website makes it easy to do so because you can select your dahlias by type, colour and height. Did I select well? You'll have to stay tuned for my summer garden tours to see how this works out for me. You may be wondering what other combinations I considered. Well, the orange David Howard was a contender. It is deep orange in colour, so there are no subtler tones to pick out, but deep pink can combine well with a strong orange. This dahlia called Lucky Number caught my eye, but it was too similar in size and shape. Perhaps Blue Bayou would work better with David Howard. I also had my eye on the multi-toned Totally Tangerine. Wouldn't that look fabulous with the pink Stolze von Berlin? Food for thought. Okay, so it's now time to get these dahlias growing, to get them potted up. So let's go to the greenhouse. Oof! Very heavy. Normally, of course, we start off dahlias in plastic pots in the greenhouse, probably in March. And if you're unsure about any aspect of that, I have a whole playlist on growing dahlias, which I'll link to at the very end of this and in the video description. But today we're doing something a bit different because we're putting the dahlias into a permanent pot for the summer. And I'm using these large clay pots I have here. I'm sure you know Klaus Dalby, the Danish horticulturalist, and his wonderful YouTube channel. In his book, Containers in the Garden, he recommends placing 3 tubers in a pot that's half to a full size larger than a mop bucket. Well, I'm not sure what they use in Denmark for washing the floors, but I'm using these large clay pots that are 13 inches wide, that's 33 centimetres, and 12 inches deep, that's 31 centimetres. I'm placing about 2 inches, that's 5 centimetres of clay pebbles at the base of the pot, and then filling it up with compost to around 4 inches or 10 centimetres from the top. I'm not sure how necessary the pebbles really are because dahlias are pretty tough tubers, but I have lots, so I'll use them. And I'll use a good compost. That's potting mix for you Americans, mixed with fertiliser. My fertiliser of choice is a seaweed one from Ocean Leaves. Place your tubers on top with the central stem facing upwards and cover with compost. Dahlias should never be planted too deeply. So you get the idea, and I'm going to pause the video now just to get on with the rest of them. I will do the rest of the pots in exactly the same way. These will stay in the greenhouse until all danger of frost has passed. I will water them once after I've potted them up, and then I won't water them again until I start to see shoots coming up, but that won't take very long at all. And the only other thing to remember, if you haven't fertilised with the potting mix like I did, then you're going to need to give your pots fertiliser as the summer goes on. Dahlias in pots are very hungry animals. Okay, so one other tip is to beware that when your dahlias start into growth, if one particular tuber produces more than 5 shoots, then you should pinch out the excess ones, and that will allow your dahlia to grow strong and of course produce more flowers, which is what we all want. If you are thinking of dahlia pot displays for yourself, or even dahlias in the garden, it is certainly not too late to order them. So do bear my discount code of Douentza10 in mind if you're thinking of ordering from Bulby. And who knows what wonderful pot display you'll have during the summer. I'd love to hear your favourite dahlia combinations, because, you know, we gardeners, we're always on the lookout for good ideas. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Bye!